Welcome to the bunker.
Preppers, survivalists, off-gridders, homesteaders, and the like. Welcome to Top's Bunker, a podcast for preppers. Email shtf@topsbunker.com, website topsbunker.com, YouTube Top's Bunker podcast channel, and of course, X and Instagram. Please check the show notes in your podcast player for a link to help support the show. There you'll find valuable products and gear and extra info on this episode. And please visit and join Top's Bunker Facebook group. You'll love the interaction with other preppers and like-minded folks. I want to thank y'all for joining us. We got a great show for you. Tonight we have two very special guests joining us, Henry and Bobby Spags from the Midwest Preparedness Project. Buddy's been teasing me about these guys for a while now, and I've been waiting in anticipation for this episode to hit the schedule. Pat and Spags are going to tell us all about the Midwest Preparedness Project and how you can take part in the fun this coming May. Now listen up, there's a lot of quote-unquote prepper survivalist conventions and events and shows out there to attend each year throughout the United States. I use air quotes because most of them, not all of them, are highly commercialized, corporate stamped, prepper industrial complex driven events to get you in the door, Doomsday.inc the crap out of you, and vacuum out your wallets and bank accounts before nudging you out the door. And during that long walk back to your car in parking zone G, your brain sparks back into reality and starts yelling at you. You spent all your rent money and you're not any smarter in the ways of preparedness coming out of the show than you were going into the show. The Midwest Preparedness Project has changed all that. We're going to let them fill you in on all the details. The 26th Semi-Annual Spring Festival starts at 8 a.m. Tuesday, May 5th, and ends Sunday, May 10th at 12 noon. It's being held in Lawrence, Kansas at the Bloomington West Campground. There's a link in the show notes for the website. Rhonda and I will be there, Buddy too, not sure about Jeremy yet. Now let's welcome Pat and Spags of the Midwest Preparedness Project. We're honored to have y'all with us. Welcome to the show.
Keith, thank you for first and foremost for having us on the Top's Bunker podcast. Bobby and I are honored to be here as well. Bobby's a little of a fanboy. Bobby's far more in tune with the online crowd than I am. But by rights, that's kind of what Bobby does. Like, he is a networker, he's a mingler. And so he turned us on to you guys, and we've been kind of deep diving you guys as well. But myself, Henry, I'm the director and president of the Midwest Preparedness Project. We've been around for about 10, 15 years on the scene here in the Northeast Kansas, Northwest Missouri area, basically from Kansas City to Topeka. And then we network all around through our mutual assistance groups. Long-time caller, first-time listener. So I'm just excited to be here.
Thanks for reaching out to me on Facebook. It's always great to meet other people within the circles in which we find ourselves. I'm a firm believer that no matter how many groups or mags you're a part of, you can always be a part of one more. And networking really is the backbone of homesteading and preparedness. I'm the vice president of Midwest Preparedness Project. Patrick brought me on board in late 2022. In 2022, all I did was give a class. And then after that, I asked him if I could become more involved. And that's when we started kind of bulldogging this project together and turning it into what it is today. My areas of expertise are I've like Patrick says, I network all the time. I used to run Kansas Prepper Expo back in the mid 2010s. That ultimately changed into full spectrum preparedness. I was the vice president of both of those companies. And we put on the big statewide preparedness expos and conventions in Kansas, and even helped the Kansas City groups get some of their first big preparedness shows off the ground back in that time period. So when Patrick brought me on, I had a little black book full of names and people I knew and started making phone calls and emails. Next thing you know, we went from the first camp out I was a part of, where we had maybe 50 people who were, pretty much longtime attendees, just coming constantly doing, the camp out and the fellowship and the fun parts of it. And Patrick and I flipped the switch. Next thing you know, we had professional speakers coming in. We had a handful of vendors. We had sponsors. We had prizes we were giving away. full lineup of kids events. And that's really kind of where we're at now, just kind of pushing that ball forward. We like to say this isn't your daddy's prepper show anymore. It's not just a bunch of milquetoast boomer cons pining on about bug out bags and duct taping, tarps to trees to ride out the zombie apocalypse. We're now fully integrated into the family model where wives and children are completely involved, where we're talking about sustainable energy, sustainable food, sustainable everything, instead of just piling rice and beans and then hoping to God you don't get scurvy after the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's a great point. That the sustainable living part of the whole thing is people miss that. They think if they have a whole closet full of freeze dried food and water and ammo, that they're good. And they don't understand that without that sustainability piece that people overlook all the time, it's all for nothing.
We often say that prepping should lead to homesteading, even on a micro scale, even if you just have chickens, even if you grow only tomatoes, at least you're doing something. And it's not just about what I can buy and stack and never have to test, but it's actually about getting your feet and your fingers into the dirt.
That's really, metric of measurement, how you can tell where someone is in their preparedness journey or their self-reliance journey is when you have those initial conversations with them. And a lot of people will puke all over your feet. They want to come out cool and sexy and show off what kind of tactical rifles they have or tell you about the 19 bug out build variations that they've built over the last 2 years. They want to tell you about their stores and whatnot and their skill sets. But really that evolution of going from being a prepper with, like you said, the freeze-dried food stacked in the corner of the garage or in your basement to, well, now I have 19 chickens and chicken math is real. Like my wife is making me get goats this summer. Bobby is, supplying me with duck eggs and we're bartering with the neighbor. Like that's the real meat and potatoes, I think, of what preparedness, like Bobby says, the evolution of preparedness looks like.
Yeah, the chickens are definitely the gateway drug to homesteading for sure.
Yes, they are.
100%.
I like what you said about the evolution of preparedness, of prepping. And homesteading, which is basically our ultimate goal, like you just said. But homesteading is not new. This is something that's been around for thousands of years, right? But what wasn't new was the show Doomsday Prepper.
Yeah, Nat Geo didn't do us any favors, did they?
No, it did. And that's what happened is Doomsday Preppers came on. And then next thing you know, everybody was buying gear and guns and showing how much food they were stockpiling, how they can light fires 15, 20 different ways and all these different things. But I think that those people, they didn't know about the homesteading part. They only knew about the Doomsday prepping part. Right. And that was me back in the day. I was a big fan. I liked the show. I thought it was entertaining.
Same.
You bet.
But now I'm a homesteader. So how do you bridge those people together? Well, it's people like us, doing this.
Very much so. It's tools like the Midwest Preparedness Project. It facilitates the opportunity for people who are typically introverted to get out of their shell, come sit around a campfire, and then start a casual conversation about knitting or canning or the chicken math or any of those things. We've watched people come all the way from Minnesota, Indiana, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas,
England.
New York, England, and then strike up a conversation with somebody and find out that they used to live right down the road from them, or they're related somehow, or have a best friend that they dated in high school. Whatever the mechanic is, right? It's crazy how that works out.
All are welcome. Yeah, we have a guy, his name is Bernie. He showed up this last fall.
God bless him.
And he reached out to us again saying, I'm going to try to time my my vacation this year, my holiday, to come back. Would it be okay if I had 5 minutes to talk about the evils of socialism and what it's doing to my home country from your stage? And I said, absolutely. You show up, I'll put a mic in your hand.
Wow, that's awesome.
Put that in context. Bernie is in his mid 80s. He is a stalwart. Like if you ever had this envisionment of what Batman's, Jeeves Butler looked like here in America, it's Bernie. It's yep. Bernie.
So he's in his 80s and he still cares. Wow.
Yes. Yeah. He cares. Yeah. He's cool.
You will meet Bernie this year.
Yep. There's a high chance he's going to be here. And when he does, we're going to get him up and give him a 10-minute spot on one of the other podcasts that'll be there. And maybe even introduce him to you guys. And if you guys are there, there's going to be plenty of opportunity, which is one of the cool things we do is we do our best. We're obviously an event. We obviously need to make money to continue the event to move forward. But one thing we firmly believe in is sharing and sharing alike. you guys show up, I'm going to introduce you to every speaker. I'm going to introduce you to every influencer. I'll put everybody in front of you the same way I will the Rebunked podcast, who's going to be there as well. And we don't hold that information. We don't hold that. We don't clutch pearls like that. We're all about making sure that if you take the time to come to my event, I'm going to make sure I'm going to give you something in value too. And I'm going to introduce you to so many cool people that you're going to get to talk to and probably want to have on the podcast also.
Yeah, you betcha. We believe that Providence pays dividends when you make those introductions like that. And we've made so many of those introductions and they have paid us dividends.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the collaboration part is in networking, especially in this industry. You know, there's podcasters out there that, and people in actually in the festival industry that just want to keep it to themselves. You know.
Oh yeah, no. It's kind of a curse, and I think it's because a lot of these events start out with corporate underpinnings or corporate financing, and so they look at things as trade secrets, or they want to hold things until the very end. We are not going to do that. In fact, we're quite the opposite. You know, you can probably tell from some of our messaging and from our logo that everybody affiliated with Midwest, at least on the staff side, is Christian adjacent in some way. We all have our faith. We all have our beliefs. But last fall, we had a gal, Tracy Wickman from Kansas Notions. She's a homeopathic doctor, and we had her come out and talk about tinctures and all this other stuff. And one of the things she asked us when we first met with her before she came out was, "Are you Christians?" And we said, "Yes, we are." And she goes,
"I'll never forget that meeting."
Yeah, she'll go, "Would it bother you to know that I'm not?" And I looked at her and I said, "Absolutely not. I don't care what you are, as long as you're not a Satanist or you're trafficking in children. That's all I really care about." And she goes, "Okay, because I'm a Druid." I said, "That's perfectly fine. Come out and talk about, your tinctures and talk about it from your perspective. I don't put, I don't think that knowledge should be locked behind a religious paywall any more than it should be locked behind a pearl clutching, you can't talk to these people, they're my speakers only paywall."
It's not a members only kind of a thing, is what you're saying.
Correct. It's open to the public. We don't even charge admission.
Yep. Look, we've all been to a Mother Earth News Fair before, and we know that is, a model that a lot of festivals like to employ. Ram class after class after class down your throat and put a paywall up behind Patreon or a paid-for class or workshop, where you get this like watered-down version of the free class.
Right.
And for, the low payment of $199.99, you too can watch someone turn beeswax into a usable product. We don't do that. We're a completely different model. Like Bobby says, we are not your daddy's, prepper show. I think we've broke that paradigm. We are breaking that paradigm.
Yep. You will often hear a lot of the folks who travel the quote unquote prepper circuit. Every one of them says the same thing. Our show has the best vibe. It's hands down the best preparedness event that there is.
Yeah.
And I think you guys will notice that when you come out.
Well, I saw a few of the videos, and what I saw were people who enjoyed what their topic was and really cared about getting it across to the people listening in the proper way. I have been to a couple of different shows. I was in one, and I can't mention who it was, and I wouldn't mention it, but it was in East Texas, and you paid to get in, but then you also had to pay for each individual class. And then when you were in that class, you kind of felt like they were just going through the motions to get you in and out.
Right.
And it didn't feel like they cared if I was listening, that they cared if I was absorbing, if I was learning and all this other stuff. From what I saw from your videos, it looked like you had some very genuine people that really cared to get the knowledge out there.
Very much. And we pride ourselves on the fact that we don't ramrod event after event to everybody. Our vision of this is that the family should be involved. And since we are a week-long camping event, we want this to be your family vacation. I want you to bring your wife and your 3 kids and your emotional support rabbit or whatever you've got and come out and camp for 4 or 5 days. Kids run down to the water, go kayaking with the youth activities. They go fishing. They do things. And what we don't like to do is put husbands and wives in competition on who gets to attend what, which is what so many of these events do. And I've even helped MC events that had 3 stages going at once. And you would watch these married couples determine who was going where to take notes in what class. And then after that, it was right on to the next one, 5-minute intermission, next class, 5-minute. We only do 3 classes a day, 3 classes on Thursday, 3 classes on Friday, and 3 classes on Saturday. And in between there, we work in plenty of time for Q&A, plenty of time for the speakers to come down, go to their own little vendor tent and continue to talk to people so that the conversation doesn't have to be clipped off for the next presenter to come up. Everything we do is an ish, and we like to keep it that way.
Tell us what it looks like. Tell us where is it at? How does it feel? Is there campfire time? Is there just hanging out time? Is there food? I mean, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so it's all the above. It's all those things that you just mentioned. So we host this camp out at Bloomington West Campground, or we have historically the last couple of years. We moved it last year to Rock Haven. We tried a horse park because it had some different amenities, and that worked out really good. But we like the intimacy of the other campground, Bloomington. And so we do. We have a big central campfire ring that we all migrate to in the evening. We play a without rule of law game around that campfire. Everyone sits around this campfire, whether we're playing without rule of law or not, and just shares stories or congregates or fellowship, or they build those bridges of trust that, in times like this are easy to do versus when those times really matter. But it's a really, really family-friendly environment where we have food trucks, we have a big top tent, we've got a pavilion, clean showers. Like it's a really, really family-centric camping experience where it's not just a festival or not just a camp out, not just an expo. It's all of these things and then more.
So if somebody's coming to this event and they say they have a travel trailer or a camper or maybe just a tent, what's the camping situation look like?
All of those things. There's 24 RV pads at this campground.
We have 18 at this one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lucy, no.
There's 18 RV pads, and anything that's not in the staff VIP area where we kind of keep we can't keep the staff and the VIP speakers in one corner of the campground. That way we can get our sleep, and we don't have to deal with noise and people running little mini bikes or scooters up and down through the roads to keep us awake. But everywhere else, it's free game. First come, first serve. You show up. Every one of the RV pads has a fire ring. It has a lantern pole. It has a gravel drive, and it's got a what's the word I'm looking for? A picnic table. Yeah. So everyone can pull up, unpack, set up camp for a week, and basically bug out in their favorite style. And there are people who will show up in semi trucks. There are people who show up with teardrop, pull behind campers. There are people that show up in full bougie, Optimus Prime RVs. And then there's people. We have a couple of guys. One guy I'm going to specifically introduce you gentlemen to. His name is Sam Russell. He's one of our local tactical guys, former Marine, machine gunner. He just goes off into the woods and he disappears. He throws up a hammock and he throws up a camouflage shade where you can't see him.
Yep.
And he'll just sit there and act like he's still out, doing a bivouac or something. And then we have families who will come out with 3 tents. They'll put them in a tight circle, put a big tarp up over all of them. And one kid gets this tent, one kid gets this tent, the adults get this tent. It's really whatever you want to do, man. We've had people throw up teepees. You will see a true Mad Max world when you come to this, just on sheer account of the diversity of how people throw their shelters together. It's awesome.
It just sounds great. I love it.
My kind of place.
We have porta potties scattered throughout the facility. We've got, like I said, we've got a really nice restroom facility at this one. So there's a men's and women's side with a water refilling station. There's 4 shower stalls?
4 shower stalls on
each side with hot water. There's 4, toilets with, flushing water. It's a really, really nice facility. We've got a really long, about a half-mile drive coming down into the place with a big parking lot. So we set up traffic control points and we have security. We have roving patrols at nighttime. We have daytime patrols. It really is a very controlled environment, but it doesn't feel that way because a lot of the mechanics, most people that attend, they don't even realize it's going on. But we do our best to make sure, 1, it's family centric, and 2, everyone there is safe and going to be able to have a good time without having to worry about the riffraff giving them. Well, you know what happened. You know what's going on in the world right now.
So my biggest question, now that we got the living situation out of the way, what about the food? Do we bring our own
we're
food?
going to have at least most people, because it is a week-long thing, will bring food to cook over the campfires and stuff, but there will be food trucks out there.
Yep.
The last few events, we've had 2 food trucks out, generally like a street taco truck, and the other one will be like burgers and hot dogs and other things of that nature, funnel cakes, pop, all that sort of stuff.
Snow cones.
Yep, snow cones, everything.
Yeah. So, and then Friday night we do a big potluck. We do a big group potluck where historically I'm definitely afraid of potlucks But I have to say, our potluck has been ultra successful. You have all of these different flavors. I've never had anything, at the potluck that I just didn't like. And it's just this giant smorgasbord of tables all linked together. And it is, I think we got some photos from last year.
Mm-hmm.
There was a line of, oh my God, 140, 150 people like going down either side of this table getting food. It was magical.
If you go away from this thing hungry or sober, it's your own damn fault.
Yeah, we've got a guy, the guy
That was my
who
next
drives
question.
the Optimus Prime semi out there. He sets up a big Blackstone griddle and cooks breakfast for everybody for free, for donation. Bacon, eggs, pancakes, the whole works. Biscuits and gravy. First come, first serve.
So what is the cost of this for someone to come out?
Oh, it's expensive.
Oh, it's so expensive. We hide this behind the biggest pay. It's the greatest paywall, and China's going to pay for it. The cost to get in is nothing. It's your time. It's your time.
Yeah.
Show up and make time for the Midwest Preparedness Festival. We will at some point be transitioning this to private property. We do want to build the festival in our own image, so to speak. And the number one reason is right now we're hosting this on Army Corps of Engineer ground. And the Corps here is amazing. They work with us very well. They crank out the concealed carry licenses for anybody who wants them at no fee and all of this. But because it is Corps ground, there are some limitations to what we can do. For example, you can't openly carry a firearm because it's Army Corps of Engineer ground. If you conceal carry, you got to get a Corps license, which is a 5-year license. It's free to get. There's no background check.
Yep.
They literally just ask for a name, phone number, and email, and then they give you a 5-year license to the Corps. But we can't kill an animal out there. We've had sheep butchering demonstrations, chicken butchering demonstrations, but we always have to dispatch the animal off site because you can't fire the firearm on Army Corps property. So because of that, we are going to migrate this to private property soon so that we can have a little more leeway in what we do. And at that point, we will charge admission. But that admission is going to be so ridiculously low. We're trying to play with
all the metrics
possible metric there is to get as many people in for as little money as possible. That keeps us solvent so that, we can pay our property taxes and put up a new building and keep the lights going. But other than that, right now, just show up. It's free. The way we make our money to pay for the campground rentals, to pay for the websites, to pay for StreamYard, for YouTube, to pay for the insurance policies we have to carry. I go out, Patrick goes out, a handful of us go out, and we beat the streets asking people for sponsorships. And so I'll get like Joe Salatin sends me 2 books every year that are autographed, and we put that into the prepper library. Billy Bond from Perma Pastures will send me 2 autographed books every year. That goes into the library. We've got guys who will give us guns. We have guys that give us body armor, canning sets, rock pot stoves, you name it, silver, gold bullion, seed banks. We take in probably $10,000 or more in donations every event in the form of these donated items that YouTubers give us, influencers give us, local businesses give us, hardware stores, feedlots.
Holton Direct Care has been fantastic.
Yeah, Holton Direct Care is a local non-insurance taking co-op hospital mode that's breaking the corporate medical system by just letting anyone come into their hospitals, and you pay a monthly subscription fee, and they don't take insurance. That way they never have to haggle with insurance companies. And they'll donate IFACs and medical kits and this sort of stuff. And so on Friday and Saturday, you can purchase opportunity tickets for $5 a piece or 5 for $20. And we do a giveaway on Friday night. And then all the tickets that didn't win Friday are kept in the hopper, and we do another giveaway Saturday night. And that money is the only real way we bring in revenue for Midwest Preparedness. And that's how we've been able to pay the bills for the last 3 years.
Yeah. Can we do a shameless plug real quick? Would that be all right?
Oh, absolutely.
Shameless.
Outstanding. Thank you, guys. So recently, we have begun the migration of moving over to a 501c3 not-for-profit. We're listed as an educational resource and a charity organization. So we are looking for some opportunities to partner with individuals on private property and looking at some sponsorship opportunities where we can reimburse those or issue receipts. But we're looking for some potential partners to seed or help seed the project. So we've got a couple of people right now that are willing to step up and put in some really nice figures. And there will be, obviously, perks that go along with those different levels of attachment to the organization. But just want to throw that out there in case any of the listeners or yourselves wanted to take part in all of that stuff. They can reach out to us at right now, Spags at MidwestPreparednessProject.com, or myself, P. Henry at MidwestPreparednessProject.com. And we would love to work with you guys. We'd love to have your help.
That's awesome. Yeah, we can definitely get that in the show notes as well.
So did I hear you guys right? Did you say that Joel Salatin was going to be there?
Yeah, we had Joe Salatin do 2 sessions for us this last spring.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we've had some really cool speakers, man. We've had some really cool speakers, and we're going to have some really cool speakers again this spring.
Even better than Joel giving his, world famous, top-notch presentations. I think the best part about Joel's presence at the festival last year was he sat in the crowd with the average Joe and ate dinner. He sat at the potluck with a table of just random people, and they didn't beat him up. They didn't fanboy. Hey, can I take a picture? Like it was magical. I thought, man, this guy has some class.
So, can you give us a little teaser of what's going to happen at this festival as far as presenters and?
Sure. Yeah, we haven't quite. We've got the schedule down. We have our speakers in place. We have not released that information to the public, and we won't release the full schedule of events until mid-February. But if you guys are former military, current military, infantry, Marine, any of that kind of stuff, tactical head, gear head, you might have heard of a channel on YouTube called Grunt Proof. There's a better than 99% chance that you're going to get to meet Randall at our event this particular spring.
Yep.
And that's just one of 9 presenters.
I have to remember to take my mute button off. I keep talking and like nobody's listening to me.
He said the coolest thing ever and nobody heard it.
So, Spags, you said that you were originally a presenter at one of the festivals. What were you doing?
I used to give a series of classes. I gave one, everyone did it back in the day. It was called Prepper Group Dynamics. I tried to make it a little more interesting and different than everybody else. I also gave presentations on precious metals, the proper way to invest, the pitfalls to avoid, what is or isn't, good advice when it comes to buying gold, silver, and other metal bullion. I used to give one about I actually gave one called Don't Be That Guy.
At our festival.
That was the first one I did, was Don't Be That Guy. And it was a class where I drew on my 15 years as a military policeman of the things that I remember from cases that we worked where people basically stepped all over their own dicks because everyone has to have a bumper sticker lifestyle. And so, I gave, the class about, if you really care about your family, don't put that stupid sticker that shows you, your wife, 6 kids, and a dog and a cat off to the side because you've just indexed to everybody who will ever follow you home, how many children you have, how many animals you have, and what kind of animals you have. You're literally telling your story to people who you don't even want to know it. And so it was kind of a class geared towards the pitfalls that many preppers fall into, everything from this bad advice giving to how you index and how you project intel to people who ought not have it.
Mm-hmm.
So those were kind of the classes I would give. I gave a bartering 101 class a few times. And it was, I actually gave one back in about 2012. I was actually going on giving a presentation on the police state. At that time, I actually was working for the United States House of Representatives for a senior member of the Republican Party.
You're still angry, Bobby, back then.
Yeah, I was angry, Bobby. I just got home from Iraq. I was disillusioned. The rug was pulled out from under me. I'd left everything behind. I thought everybody had lied to me about everything my whole life.
Let me paint this picture for you guys so you understand it clearer. This is Bobby, just came back, turned stateside. He's rocking a Warhawk, not a Mohawk. He's got a Warhawk and like this wicked, I don't know. It's like the Butcher Bob from the Gangs of New York. He's got like this Butcher Bob like beard going on. Like it's Bobby to a T. This is angry Bobby.
I had my anarchist earring in all the time.
Yeah.
And I was that way working for the Congresswoman. I didn't shy away from who I was, and God bless her for being a little 5'2" Republican gal. She was not intimidated one bit by the fact that I was libertarian anarchist Bobby Spags, going around yucking up about the place. But anyway, at that time, I worked for the federal government as a congressional aide doing ICE, immigration, and Department of Homeland Security casework. And so I would collect all this information and data from the Library of Congress while I was at work. And I would just pull files directly from thomas.gov, which is a public site you can go to right now and find everything you could possibly ever want to find if you just know how to look. And I would give presentations on the police state, mostly about bills that were being presented at the time by Chuck Schumer and Barack Obama and a few others in the far left side of the House.
Mm-hmm.
But even some of the stuff that was being introduced by, rhinos like Lindsey Graham and, some of the other war hawks like John McCain, people didn't realize that these people were putting their names on bills that were allowing the federal government to come in and just take all your gold and silver, to come take all your crops, to take all your food, to take your car, to take anything you've ever stored back. They were literally anti-prepper bills that were being put into committee in the United States House and in the Senate back in those days. And so I would just publicly put this stuff on blast and let everybody know this is who sponsored it. These are the co-sponsors. It's currently in committee. And I would keep people up to date on every step of the legislative process of where these bills were, whether they were passing or not. And thank God, the vast majority of those kind of bills never even get out of committee. They never see the light of day, but some of them do. And some of them go to the House for a vote. And at that point, I would I would organize calling trees and get people to call, members of Congress and everybody else who would listen and say, don't vote for this, it's bad. And so I would give that class, which kind of put a big target on my back in many ways. I was still in the Army Reserve at the time. I probably shouldn't have been doing what I was doing, working for who I worked for and still being a member of the Army, but I just didn't care.
May have been a conflict of interest.
It was probably a conflict of interest at some point, but at the same point, people needed to know the government is trying to come take your water bottles. It literally says right here, stored water in the bill.
I've known preppers that don't believe that those people actually exist in the government. They absolutely do. They're taking your wood stoves away, your mini homes away.
Yep.
Why do you think they do it? And you know what? I know why they do. You know why they do it. Tell our audience why you think that those people exist.
I think that the people who exist in government don't work for you, who do those things. I think they work for, insert whatever group you want. I think the most obvious answer is the World Economic Forum that has a economic and political grip on Western countries. I think that the concept of 10-minute cities and Agenda 2030, streamlining societies to where everything is controlled, regimented, the perfect Prussian style, society. I think that that's kind of a Bolshevik goal that a lot of these people have. And I think in their minds, they have these starry-eyed visions of this perfect utopian society where daddy and mommy state take care of you and you exist to vote and pull levers in a factory somewhere. And I think a lot of these people have spent a lot of time getting themselves into every kind of position they can, from local school boards to appellate judges to district judges to attorney generals to members of Congress and even up to the presidency of the United States. And I think that there's a conglomerate of these folks who have one driven narrative, and that is a Bolshevik-run utopian state. And they are willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And in that Bolshevik utopian state, there is no private property. You will own nothing and you will be happy. And that's their mantra, because they truly do believe that they're smarter than you.
I think I've heard that once or twice here lately.
They do not like us being preppers. They do not like us. They do not like what we can do for ourselves. That's why they call us fearful wackos.
Right.
You call me whatever you want. Just don't send me a bill.
Well, Keith, I think that was part of the allure of the Nat Geo, Doomsday Preppers show, is like there's a part of me that believes that was more than just a TV show, that it was a psyop in order to push that agenda to make people that are in that sphere seem crazy or seem off kilter or seem like they're alt-right or, something that is, not to be believed or trusted, because look what it did. But in my opinion, I think it had a differing effect. So what it really did is it allowed people to showcase those skills, those opportunities to grow communities, fellowship, and build mutual assistance groups. It gave them a place to say, I don't want to be like that. Because it's the same analogy of, it's hard to appreciate a good wife if you've never experienced a bad one, a bad girlfriend. It's hard to appreciate a good friendship if you've never experienced a bad one. In that same light, looking at those preppers or those types of people, you can say, all right, I don't want to be affiliated with a group like that. Or when I build my group, we're going to do things differently. And it just, I think it was a unique opportunity for people like them to look and check themselves as well and say, man, look what I looked like on TV back in 2002 on Nat Geo. I can't believe I sounded like that.
Yeah, it definitely had an opposite effect. That's for sure.
I've got a question for you. What does the crowd out there at one of your festivals look like? I mean, I'm talking demographics and maybe age.
And let me add to that. Can anybody just walk in that wants to go to the park that day?
Yes, it's an open to the public event. We openly advertise it on Facebook, our website, everything else. As far as the crowd, It goes from newborn babies to 80-year-old people. It goes from white to black. There is a conglomerate of Norse pagans that show up. I would say that the average person is probably your typical conservative Midwesterner, but it's by no means the rule. There are plenty of people of different races and religions. There's plenty of people of different, both, male, men, women. It's a family thing. We bring in everybody, and unless you just cause a real problem, unless you are, the riffraff that comes in and starts trying to boo people on the stage, or be loud, or be decrying of anybody or their space, we're not going to tell you can't show up.
So we have removed people for having like barky dogs or aggressive dogs or things like that, but we have what I would call the most Norman Rockwell preparedness self-reliance event in not just the Midwest, but in all of the shows that we've attended. Spags and I have been to a bunch, man, from Miami to Vegas to
Kiowa, Colorado, Tennessee.
Like out of all of these shows he and I have been to, we have this very unique and almost eclectic mix of, like he said, every age and range group of nationality and backgrounds. Me myself, I'm a first-generation American, product of an immigrant, and I know full well, the rights and liberties that was afforded to me when my mom came here. So we have all types and backgrounds and races and religions and creeds and you name it. From the tinfoil hat wearers to the people, like you said, they don't believe those atrocities are going on, and that
we get a little of the hippies, we get a little of the preppers, we get a little of the homesteaders, we get the tinfoilies, and then we just get the people who are, what would we call them, prepping curious.
Yeah, prepping adjacent.
Yeah, I think that's the pronoun we throw around these days.
And you get Vikings.
We do get Vikings. We have a couple of Vikings.
We have several Vikings.
We have several.
Will's a Viking. Pete's a Viking.
I would say if I could leak one more name, speaking of that, there is a better than 99% chance that you might get to meet Viking preparedness at this particular event as well.
Very nice.
Yep. PJ is going to be there.
Oh, I can't wait. That's going to be awesome.
Wait, did you say Bear?
Bear was there in the spring, but his pastor, PJ Fox.
Oh, PJ.
Pastor Joe Fox.
Okay. I thought you said TJ.
Yeah, PJ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bear Independent was at our event last spring, the same one that Joel Salatin was at.
Yep.
And so he brought PJ with him. PJ and J.A. Dudley came with him that particular time. And I know that we're going to get PJ back this spring.
I'll never forget the first time Bobby and I met, Bear Independent, TJ Morris. It was in Tennessee at the Self-Reliance Festival.
Yes.
And it was during, I guess it was
right before they were deploying into Appalachia to go do recovery from Helene.
Yeah. They were still dealing with the aftermath of Helene, and he was running into, I guess, opposition is the only way to really describe that.
Armed FEMA versus armed militia. It's an interesting combination.
In the Appalachians of all places. And so Bear is giving this speech about what's going on. And like, it was fascinating to watch these people just kind of rally behind him. And like, man, it was there for a minute. I thought we were all going to grab our pitchforks, torches, and
storm Frankenstein's castle.
Yeah, like, woo, it was going to be some woo-woo time.
Yeah, Bear is a general, and I would follow him into war. I absolutely would follow TJ any day.
Yeah, so we reached out to him. He came out to the festival last year, and he baptized a bunch of people, gave a really good class on, what was it, vetting?
Vetting and personal relationship.
We had Bear on last week. We were very honored to have him on. First time, he blew me away.
He's a great dude. Well, no, if you just watch his content, without any context at all, having never met him, you would think he was a typical arrogant, cocky gearhead. But in real life, he is absolutely an arrogant, cocky gearhead who is the most humble and friendly, loving man you'll ever meet.
There you go.
And he is, to me, the perfect embodiment of what modern masculinity needs to go back to. You're not going to pull the wool over his eyes. You can't bullshit the man, but he will sit there and pray with you silently or out loud, publicly or not, if you need it. He's a true leader.
I remember the first time I'd met Bear. My first impression was, wow, that's his real voice.
Yeah, it's his real voice.
He's got that deep voice. And honestly, I didn't hit it off real well with him at first because I had my guard up and I was like, what's going on here? But
right.
After getting to meet him and being around him a little bit, I mean, I actually do some work for him. So
outstanding.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Well, if you feel that way about Bear, there is a video on our YouTube from one of our Dub Brawl lives. We clipped it and we put it up there because why wouldn't we?
I think it's one of the shorts, yeah.
Yes, where he says that Midwest Preparedness Project is the coolest vibe show you'll ever go to. We're trying to make it even easier for people. We started a thing called the Great American Preparedness Tour, where we have actually linked up with 2 other events.
Mm-hmm.
There's Living Free in Tennessee, which Nicole Sauce, who runs Living Free in Tennessee, she hosts an event called Self-Reliance Festival. And then our friends Jason and Shelly out of Bowling Green, Kentucky, have Kentucky Sustainable Living. And we actually do this thing where each of our events has a poker chip, different colored poker chip with our logo in it. And if you go and travel to all of them within a calendar year and collect all 3, and you send me proof of life at the end of the year that you've got your 3 tokens, we'll send you a laser engraved Great American Preparedness Tour Mora knife, basic 511, with that lithographed on the blade.
That is outstanding.
Going into my calendar and putting some other dates on there.
Go to thepreparednesstour.com. It's our extra website that gives all the dates. We haven't updated it for 2026 yet. We're going to go in here pretty soon and put all the new show dates. But there's 3 events on the Great American Preparedness Tour. Yeah. And we're actually in talks with others across the country to add more events to the tour. Our idea is, why the hell are you going to go spend your money at places like Disney World or Nashville where they don't care about you? Why not make your vacation and your road trips planned around things where you can actually go hang out with people just like you, meet folks just like you, maybe meet some people who are not quite like you and will open your horizons a bit, get some education, get some gear, get some cool knowledge, get some cool pictures with some of the folks on the internet you'll never see otherwise, and actually make a lifestyle based around what we do instead of cheap commercialism and all this other bullshit that gets ramrodded down your throat through your cable TV.
Yeah, Keith, buddy, one of the coolest compliments that I have ever been paid in my life was at the festival before last. There is a family not far from here up in the St. Joe area that comes down. They bring all their kids, and they work different shifts. He's a firefighter, EMT, and I'm not sure what she does, but they have to alternate going back and forth to take care of their livestock. And he's there with all the boys, and they're hanging out. They're doing their thing. The boys are just running amok. At the end of the show, Sunday, we're breaking all the tents down. It's, the magic is ending. All of us are just completely exhausted. Bobby's like, he's dragging, I'm dragging. We're all just tired. And a lot of the people that come to the event, they stay and hang out and help us break the stuff down like they're part of the crew, part of the family, part of the tribe. And I'll never forget this guy. I won't say his name, but he's got his truck loaded up, and he pulls up, and all his kids are in the back seat of the truck. And, one of them is just throwing an absolute fit, just a wall-eyed hissy fit. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, yeah, well, we got to go. We got to get home. Sorry, we got to leave. We can't stay and hang out, but and help put things up. But, I got to get the kids home. They're throwing a fit. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, well, the boy, he was like, Dad, why are we going home? Like, we have this tent here and all of our friends are here. We live here now. This is where we live, Dad.
I was actually, right before you said that, I was just going to ask you about the kids, about the children, age group wise, and what do you have for them there? What can they expect?
Yeah, so the kids are varying from all ages, again, from like infant toddlers, moms walking around with babies in a sling or on their hip, to full-on, roving tribes of feral children, like gangs of New York style, walking around snapping their fingers, owning the road and hissing at people, like teenagers without their cell phones do these days. So we have all ages and range groups. I think this last time we had close to 100 and something kids out there.
Yep.
Participating in so we have a group that comes out, and they, like the Gideons come out, they hand out Bibles. We've got a buddy that works for the Kansas Department of Wildlife, and he sets up a pellet gun range, or he does archery with the kids and youth groups. They do scavenger hunts.
Yeah, Christy, we have a gal named Christy who runs a whole
youth coordinator.
Yeah, yep. She does a whole youth program. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, there are children's events alongside adult events. So all the kids, parents sign a waiver, because they can win a knife, and, we live in a litigant society. So we make all the parents sign waivers, and then they can go run amok with Christy and do kids events. Yep. And that way the kids are engaged with events that are apt for their age level, and the parents are free to then go up and go to the main events.
It's truly a family event for sure.
So you said that you can't carry openly, which is not smart anyway, but you can carry concealed. Now, where do you get that license from the Army Corps of Engineers you were talking about earlier?
So message Spags, email Spags. He can hook you up with that information.
Yeah, there's one of the guys, one of the civilians that works for the Army Corps in the Kansas City district. I'll have to give him your email, and you just email him. Say, hey, I want to carry at the Midwest Preparedness Project. Here's my name, my phone number, and my email. He emails you a 2-page DOD form, and it's just your license, and it's good for 5 years. And it tells you where specifically you can't carry at all, like inside the dams you can't carry, inside the LEO buildings where the park rangers are, you can't carry, obviously. But anywhere else, you can pretty much conceal carry everywhere, as long as it's not one of like the handful of little facilities that they mention, all of which are spillways, dams, or LEO offices. Anywhere else you can. There's no background check. There's no fee. There's nothing to it. They just want to know who's carrying on Corps ground.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. It's pretty painless, pretty simple.
So this covers all Corps land.
Everything in District 7, this will cover. So everything in most of Missouri, Kansas, and into I think some of Oklahoma and Nebraska. Yep. Now, if you're in a different sector, like in District 6, District 2, you'd have to go through their person to get a concealed carry license for those districts. I believe it is district specific. Again, they're free and there's no background check.
That sounds just like the Hunger Games, bro.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Just
we pay tribute. But yeah, if you want that information, I will introduce you to Jason Hurley. He's the local commander out of District 7, I believe it is, for Kansas
Lawrence,
City.
Kansas area, Kansas City.
Yep. And so, and honestly, it's the weirdest thing. Like we get along so damn well with the Army Corps of Engineers. They're the local park ranger. His name is Hunter. He is a huge fan of us, He loves us. He has told us, the Corps has told us, that out of all the events that go on at all of the lakes, all of the reservoirs, all of the different parks, that our event is by far the best event. We take care of the property the best. We clean up after ourselves the best. Our people are the most behaved. They never show up. They don't have to. No one ever gets drunk and disorderly. No one ever gets in a fight. There's never any issues where the park rangers have to show up when Midwest Preparedness Project is on scene, because we are what we are. And so it's this weird love relationship between the feds and the preppers that somehow materialized here in Kansas, where Army Corps of Engineers, park rangers, and preppers love each other, get along smashingly, like it's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that we practice what we preach. That we truly do what we say, and we say what we do. And when we show up, we do. We take care of the place, like Bobby said. We have historically policed the ground. When we get there and when we leave, we pick up cigarette butts, napkins. We clean the bath. We even bring our own toilet paper, for God's sake. We do all kinds of stuff to make sure that we leave the place better than we found it.
Okay, so you said that this is a week. You said it's a week-long event. So when does it start? What day? And when does it end? What day? And what happens if you have too many people show up?
Well, to answer the first question, it's May 5 through May 10. It opens up May 5th is Tuesday. We open the campground at noon to the public. Mm-hmm. The staff is going to be there on Monday, but we have to put up the tents, put up the traffic control points, put up the snow fencing, put up the speed limit signs, bring in the porta potties, do all that kind of stuff. So Monday is staff only. We open to the public at noon on the 5th of May, and you can stay there until essentially noon on Sunday, which is May 10th. And if we have officially broken the campground for the last 4 events.
Yeah.
The campground is only it was initially rated for, I think, 300 people. After we had our events where we had 600 people out there, the Army Corps changed the website to say only 150 people can now come out there. But we've been told unofficially that we're clear to continue to do what we do.
Well, we have to get a special permit.
Yeah, we fill out a special permit. We pay like a $50 fee every event. Yeah. But again, that cost is covered by the giveaway and the sponsorships and all of that sort of stuff. So it costs the attendees nothing to do.
Yep. Besides your time and maybe your snacks, because you need snacks in between. I think the food trucks don't really start vending till Wednesday, Thursday. Or when they do start vending, it's like lunch and dinner. Yeah. They don't necessarily do breakfast. So you're on your own. You're either down there hitting up Terry and begging for some pancakes and bacon while it lasts, or you're bringing your own. There's plenty of fire rings for you to cook around. And
well, also on top of that, we do have Grumpy Acres coming back this year to do cinnamon rolls.
Oh,
that's someone else I need to get you guys in touch with, is one of our local YouTubers named Grumpy Acres Farm. He's
freeze-dried food.
He's another former Marine, and
they just did a canning class for us at one of our mutual assistance group meetings. They've been speakers at our event. Grumpy was a speaker here a while back, talked about cheese last fall and how to make cheese from homemade supplies. So
yeah, I'll send an email introduction so I can introduce him to you guys. I think you would like to talk to him.
I know you guys probably don't like to push any one single day, but what's the best 3 days to be there? Most exciting days?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
100%.
Classes start at 10 o'clock on Thursday. Well, the opening ceremony is 10 o'clock Thursday. Mm-hmm. So Thursday through Saturday are the meat and potato days, 3 classes. On Friday evening, there's an event run by Grumpy Acres Farm called the Grumpy Seed Exchange. Yep. It's a barter-only event where people bring in their seeds that they've collected themselves, saplings, cuts, plants. The only 2 rules are nothing that gets me arrested and no fiat currency. And that's Thursday. So 3 classes, then you have Grumpy Seed Exchange.
That's worth the whole entire event right there. That's amazing.
Just you wait. It gets even better. That's just Thursday. On Friday, we have our 3 events. Then we have the potluck, which is the big communal eating thing that we always do. Yep. Then we have the first giveaway. There's a children's giveaway that Christy does for the youth, and then there's a giveaway that I MC from the stage for the adults. Then after that, we go into what we call Preppers After Dark, which is where we play without rule of law around the communal campfire for about an hour and a half. And you get to really see how people are going to answer those questions that are posed based off that card game. And that's someone else I should introduce you to, because they're always looking for places to stump that card game. And I think you guys could even use those cards for content for your podcast. It's good stuff. And we are good friends with the folks who put that card game together. And then Saturday, we have 3 more events, followed by the second giveaway for kids, the second giveaway for adults. But then we have what's our flagship event. It's called Bartertown. And this is where you will watch an Army Corps of Engineer campground become literally Bartertown from Mad Max. As soon as the last prize is given away, the rule is all vendors have to shut down cash operations, and everybody for the last 6 months who's been collecting miscellaneous things puts out blankets, pops up tents, pops up tables, goes to the pavilion, stakes their claim, and puts their wares out. And for 3 hours, you will watch all 600 people walk around this thing, slinging, dickering, bartering with each other. And the only 2 rules, nothing that gets me arrested and no fiat currency. And you'll watch kids run up to the fire pit, fast create a s'more, and run up to someone's table and try to barter it for a knife. Like, it's the coolest stuff you will ever see.
I've never seen a more eclectic mix of used car parts and junk drawer, items from hinges and springs to car titles being bartered out there.
Yep.
Yeah, you got my attention.
I'm going to bring an extra truckload of stuff.
Yeah, bring your junk drawer. Bring your old tactical gear.
Bring all that prepping gear you bought back in 2009 that you now realize you're never going to use, and trade it for something cool.
As weird as it sounds, there are people who are just now getting started that would actually love to have your 5-year, 10-year expired Mountain House meal sitting on the shelf that are collecting dust sad every time you walk by and put some new cool gun in the safe.
Yep.
Hey, I have one last question for each of you. What advice would you guys give a prepper that's just starting out?
I would start with saying this, and it's something that I myself work on each and every day, and that's get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I, too, am an introvert that has to pretend to be an extrovert in order to make a living and survive, and lead from, example as pushing the rock up the hill with the Midwest Preparedness Project. And if it were not for friends like Bobby and others that help us drive this magnificent bus called the Midwest Preparedness Project, I don't know where I would be today or what I would be doing. So surrounding yourself with the same people, with people that are on the same mission as you, and getting outside your comfort zone, going to a meeting, getting off your keyboard, getting off of YouTube. I hate to say this, but getting off the podcast and going to a festival, going to a mutual assistance group meeting, or starting one of your own. That's where I would tell people or suggest people start with.
Do you guys do a podcast or a YouTube channel or anything like that?
Yeah, we have a YouTube channel, Midwest Preparedness Project on YouTube, and that's where we play. We have once a month we play Without Rule of Law, where we bring in special guests. I was mentioning that earlier, and we play the game for about an hour and a half on Monday nights. And we do put up all of the classes and stuff that we get. We have an amazing friend. Her name is Rebecca. She runs Red Flyer Media.
That's so amazing.
And she shows up with all her AV equipment and interfaces with our AV guy named The Todd. And they put all their powers combined. And so we live stream from the stage, and every class is put up on our YouTube channel, with the only exceptions being, and this is just for liability, we have had doctors and nurses and medical professionals come out and give specific talks about things like nothing's going to get you canceled if I say it, right?
Oh, you're asking? No. Go, no.
Okay. So we have people coming out talking about ivermectin, MBZ. We have people coming out talking about, how cancer is caused by parasites and chemotherapy is poison and all the alternative medicine. So those kind of classes, because they are professionals in the medical field, we don't always put that up on YouTube just to protect them.
Yep.
But you can certainly come get it for free when you're at our place.
Pat, Spags, thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. We're humbled and honored.
You betcha.
My Prepper brothers and sisters, the Midwest Preparedness Project's 26th semi-annual Spring Festival is where you want to be. Meet up with Buddy, Rhonda, and myself. We'd love to hang out with you guys. Go for the day or night. Go for the week. Make it a road trip. Fly in, bus in. Just make sure you get there. With so many family-friendly, exciting events like Bartertown, the Prepper Seed Exchange, classes, camping, live music, live podcasts, food trucks, campfires, and tons of things for the kiddos to do, you got to make sure that you get there. You're going to have fun. You're going to make friends. You're going to learn something new. And it's free. You just can't beat that. Stay prepped. Stay happy. Thanks for listening, and good night.